Greetings, Molweni Nonke, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Greetings, this is Faiez Jacobs, Member of Parliament here for the Greater Athlone area. Today we'll be chatting a bit about the State of the Nation address. So last Thursday, in fact, the President in a special parliamentary precinct at the City Hall of Cape Town, he delivered the State of the Nation address. It took 2 hours to outline a plan of getting South Africans to work together, job creation, and government outlined different issues. We as members of parliament looked at that, studied that, and today it's just, we're spending a few minutes to actually reflect on this. And what does this mean for people on the Cape Flats? And how does this ensure that we get South Africa working together, and we're also taking our community and our broader country forward? So that is what we're going to do. In a nutshell, we're going to outline some of the key things that the State of the Nation address has made. There's also a lot of criticism. We had 2 days of criticism about that. So we'll also hear about criticism from opposition. So that's the topic. With Auntie Rosheda, we want to look at, and I want to wish you a warm welcome. Saba, I'm going to hand over to you.
Hi there. Salam. Sorry about that. Thank you very much, Faiez, for the beautiful introduction. I think it is important for us to note that there has been criticism, and it's lovely to know that we can hold space and discuss positivities and criticism as progressive people. And I appreciate, your leadership with regards to acknowledging that and keeping it real in that sense. So my first question to Auntie Rosheda is around, the grant that you received as an informal trader or as someone who leads holding space for other informal traders within the Western Cape region. There's an amount of, I think it's 10,000 Rand that you were given, and that was also given to other informal traders within your network. I just wanted you to share with us, has that money made any impact in your life and in your business? And could you give us a few practical examples, of how that funding has, it's a small amount, but how do you feel that form of investment by government has actually assisted emerging informal traders and business owners?
Hi, good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum, Comrade Faiez and Saba. Indeed, it has made an impact, which I really do appreciate. As the president of SAITA, I do not have a printer. So when I wanted to print something, I would have to go get into my car or take a nice walk around up to the main road to go to the internet cafe. So that printer is really going to be put to good use for the national structure that I serve as SAITA. And obviously for myself, as you know, I'm a small clothing manufacturer, and not having the necessary tools, to grow our businesses, it's difficult. And now with this token of appreciation that we've received, I've received a laptop, which I know is a must in any business. So Sharita Designs is a cooperative that it's a family cooperative in the clothing industry. And although, I'm an old gogo, I do have younger people in the cooperative, family members, and the laptop will be of great benefit for us to start doing everything, on using the digital platform. So yes, indeed, it has been a great, great gift to me after 30 years in this sector, that I could personally gain some form of, a grant of this nature, which will definitely be put to use, very good use, not only for me in my business, but also to assist me in my work as a SAITA's president.
Beautiful, and very well answered. My next question is a bit of a controversial one, Auntie Rosheda, and it's particularly with regards to
the next question. If I can come in quickly. Look, I was at the, and look, Rosheda, I think it was a really nice sight to see all of the informal traders there and getting their Christmas gifts at the City Hall. So it was very symbolic getting that. And you were one, I think there was about 70 or so informal traders that got their gifts. What was the type of range? I want to ask that question. Okay, let me invite you to ask the question, but just talk me through the experience of how does other people apply for this? Is it because you SAITA? And what was the criteria? And everybody asked me afterwards in my Facebook, how do we apply? How can our business also benefit? So that's obviously a natural question. I wasn't involved in the selection process. Maybe you can shed some light on that.
Yes, indeed. Look, it was a partnership between the Department of Small Business Development and the City of Cape Town. We were actually approached through the City of Cape Town. Now, within the City of Cape Town, there are four, like we call it the district areas. We have the East, the North, the South, and the Central. So in each area, there are city officials that operate on the ground with informal traders. And they were the ones who identified the traders who should apply for it. Now, it was 60 recipients. And, we have tens of thousands of informal traders. So, yes, I am very grateful for having received it.
All right, great stuff. Okay, so Auntie Rosheda, my next question, I'm really happy that our next guest is with us and we're not going to overlap unnecessarily, but the question that I want to pose to you is something that affects the next guest and the Rastafarian community, but also at times even African immigrants that sell informally on the streets of Cape Town. So I was just interested to know from, besides all the positive things and all the positive assistance, what in your experience are some of the challenges that are still faced by informal traders in Cape Town? Are they? Yes, let me give you a chance to respond.
Yeah, challenges are still there. There's no doubt about it. There are many challenges. And, I want to cite specifically, not in Cape Town, but this morning I received from, we are across the country. So this morning I received a message from the George informal traders. And the one informal trader sent a complaint to say that he was pepper sprayed by law enforcement for not having a mask on. And he explained that he forgot it, it's becoming more lenient now, and a lot of people are, slacking in that. And it was such a harsh thing to me that I had to take the matter further. So law enforcement, Faiez and everybody else, there needs to be some training with law enforcement of how to handle, how to engage with informal traders. We have always over the years been looked down upon, as we are of nuisance value. And yet the informal sector is the biggest job creators. And challenges continues, and especially by law enforcement. I don't say it's the order of the day, but the incidences are there. That they are harassed, they are not given their rights to, to justice, their rights to appeal, their rights to administrative justice, which allows them to get a hearing, to appeal the issue, to, you know, not do it again. But things are just done in a way where your stock is confiscated, and especially if you're fruit and veg, if your stock is confiscated and you must pay to get it back, you must understand it's already rotten when you get it back. So it's useless. So I would say, yes, the challenges are still there. We have many, many challenges. And one of that is still harassment of law enforcement. Other challenges is the fact that we can clearly see there are no jobs. Unemployment is so high, but we as government and SAITA need to collaborate on opening market space. Do not create markets where there's no feet and there's no marketing and it's not going to work. That's not going to help. But let's look at how can we increase space, city space for more informal traders, because in that way, we're going to create many, many more jobs can be created that way. So there are lots of challenges with regard to, you know, the COVID impact, and a lot of people's businesses went right down. They've suffered right up until now, and they're struggling to build back. We need to look at how do we build back better, like before COVID. The impact of COVID, you know, it was very, very, very harsh. And we, as we said, especially the elder people who are on the markets as well, many of them have succumbed to COVID, and, you know, there's been a loss in income in the family. So we need to look at, but not government alone. You know, SAITA is appealing that government does not take decisions on their own, that government consult the sector's leadership, the sector's organizations, to sit around the table, collaborate about how we can you know, lessen the challenges of today. So definitely more market space is required. The issue of getting a permit, and you mentioned earlier about migrant workers as well. You know, it's very hard to get a permit nowadays when there's long waiting lists. The red tape needs to be cut on those things so that we can have a much simpler way of which we can address the access to a permit, access to a job. You must understand, an informal trader is an entrepreneur and they want to earn a living. And for that reason, you know, I think government should come to the table and offer, there is much space that can be offered. In certain areas, and I have to mention it here, like in Mossel Bay, they refuse to have street trading in the CBD. Now, why should that be? When CBD is the footfall of all walkers and customers and passerbys, and that's what we need. We need footfall. I can go on and on about challenges, I suppose.
Thank you very much. That was really well reflected upon, and I feel that your wealth of experience is something that we do not take for granted and that we can all learn from. I'm going to give Comrade Faiez an opportunity to respond, but I'd also just love to, piggybacking off what you've mentioned, pose a question to him in his response, and that is around you know, is there a bit of a tug of war in the city of Cape Town between the way that the city council and potentially national government would deal with this issue? Yeah, so that's my question, but I'm going to give him an opportunity to first respond to you, share his reflections, and then possibly if he could touch upon that too, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Saba, and thanks, Comrade Rosheda, for sharing the plight of informal traders and that sector. And you're right, we need to do more. The fact that we give and get more voices from the SAITA is going to be critical. So you must fight that fight, and we must push, and government must be better. But just let me give you some facts and figures in terms of the state of the nation. So the budget for small business development is 2 billion rand. And government is trying to say more of South Africans must access that money by getting them to formalize, to regulate. Now, a small business don't want to formalize because they don't want to get a CPIC, they don't want to fill in a registration, they don't want to get bank statements because it's still cumbersome. A lot of the informal traders are living hand to mouth. They go to the market, Epping, they buy stock for 500 Rand, they make 1,000 Rand on that just like a Portabiki rule. So that's the culture. And we want to move away from survivalists to actually thriving businesses. We want small business to use ICT. They must use app. They must be able to pay on their phone. If I come through and I got a snap scan, I must go to my broker here and say, I want 10 Rands bananas and I must snap scan it. So that's where we want to take our small business. So I think COVID and all of that and the unrest has really been very difficult. So this is the first year where we actually going for it. And so we need to look at how we're going to collaborate. So when the president says we want to reduce red tape, when we say that we want big companies to set aside their budgets and their what they call supplier development program. So for example, let me just use one example. Woolworths or ShopRite or Pick n Pay or all of those things, they have more than 1,000 different products on their shelves or in their stores. But most of these are made in China or manufactured outside South Africa. So we as government are saying, these are the top 1,000 or 500 items that must be made and bought and manufactured in South Africa. So that's what we call localization. So for example, a braai stand in ShopRite must be made locally and produced by South Africans. We mustn't import it somewhere else. Bicycles, teaspoons, all of those things. So especially our food. So can we get to the project where our informal traders get one step up, where they come together and say, look, there is this niche. There's a platform called She Traders. So She Traders is a platform dedicated for women to trade in Africa. So we have a common trade area. So if the women of Philippi can come together and produce a product, they can sell it on the African continent for free. So that's also another platform that we have. They call it She Trade platform. Then there is a program which talks about township and rural economies, which basically says that if you have certain skills, if you're a welder, if you're a baker, if you have a general dealer, spaza shop, if you make nails or hand or personal care, you can get grants or money from government. But we also need to ensure that people get to becoming a thriving business. So these are some of the projects that we have in government. But the challenges, I want to come back to the challenges of the informal traders. We need to see how we can help. Let me pause there. Saba?
All right. Thank you so much, Faiez. I can see that, government has actually got some really big plans for transformation within the space. And we as the people look forward to the implementation strategy of all of those amazing ideas and policies, etc. So my last question to you, Auntie Rosheda, is connected to the last question, the second last question, and that is really related to land specifically. So, you were talking about some of the challenges that informal traders have. And then I just wanted to sort of like throw you in the deep end with regards to the land question. It's not specifically focusing on informal traders per se, but it's something that affects all historically disadvantaged people post-forced removals. So I just wanted to know if you could maybe comment on, the state of, the land issue and redistribution of land to those that are living on the Cape Flats post-forced removals, and how we need to hold government accountable, particularly with regards to this, because it's something that will affect informal traders. It will affect everybody in all sectors moving forward. Do you have any thoughts or feelings or reflections on land issues in 2022 and moving forward?
Yes, indeed. Indeed. You know, talking about land, there are so many buildings that's derelict that belongs to the government, especially the local government. And as Comrade Faiez has spoken earlier about, let's look at the women of Philippi. And if we can get all the clothing manufacturers of the women of Philippi into a building that the city provides the necessary infrastructure, and that we can form cooperatives amongst these women, and we could dedicate a line that goes to Woolworths and to Studderbits, I can see my age now, talking about Studderbits is not there anymore, but Woolworths and the Pushinis and the Truworths and things like that. So yes, the issue of land is that we do not have the necessary land that we need to develop and grow. Unless, and Faiez has spoken about TREP and that, but it is so difficult, Faiez. The TREP, I have said, as you know, I even had to write up to the DG of the Department of Small Business Development to tell them about, you know, the traders who apply. There's always a challenge, a stumbling block in their way that they don't access that funding. It has to be made easier. But where the land is concerned, definitely number one would be to utilize the derelict buildings in a manner that could be built back better for the informal economy workers. We need more structure in the informal economy workers. If you look at Cape Town, for example, you can find 1,000 of us that's in the informal manufacturing industry. You know, we're all working from home, we're from garages, and from Wendy houses we manufacture. And if we could get the necessary enabling environment to ensure that the manufacturers can come together in cooperatives and jointly get a deal which will set them into a new level of business, which will upgrade them from informal to more formalized business. But it needs the war. It needs the dedication from all parties. And SAITA pledged their assistance to work with government on these matters. So land is very, very important because it's land that gives access to opportunity. I spoke earlier about opening more markets. There's definitely a need for more space. And it is there. It's just there is not well enough. There's well enough to go and build high rises, yes. There's well enough to go build, you know, more high profile business things that they want to do, like flats and restaurants and hotels. But let's look at mass. Let's look at mass and the impact of great numbers of people into job creation and developing them, empowering them to ensure that they again start employing others.
Very powerful words from an exceptionally powerful woman. I'd like to thank you for your contribution once again, and just leave the floor open for Comrade Faiez if he'd like to just mention anything around SONA and small business, if he has any further comments, or if not, then we can move on to the next topic of marijuana. But I'm sure that Comrade Faiez will just want to leave us with a few closing words on this topic.
No, I just want to say thank you to Comrade Rosheda. You be the champion for the informal traders and continue to do the work. We look forward to the work, and also you got a champion in me. So let's this year be the thing where we're going to do more for informal traders. I like your ideas. I'm with you. I'm prepared to be part of any meetings that we need to take to further the cause for informal traders, and also get government to work a bit better. So they're starting to listen now. Now they must listen better, and they must make like the TAP and all of those things work better. So thank you for making time on your birthday, Nohal. And we wish you a very a beautiful, wonderful, memorable day with your family. I hope they spoil you. And thank you for making time for us. You truly are an inspirational leader for our people, not only in the Cape Flats, but also certainly nationally. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mama Faiez.
Okay, bye-bye.